Hello everyone and welcome back to Kinkoi, Ella-san's route, where I don't know if it's going to be another educational episode about Japanese history, but we'll find out. As for what Ria and I discussed the other day, I missed my chance to ask Sylvie about it.
Ohayo, Ora.
Hi Sylvie. Hey. It was a morning like any other and I took my seat behind Sylvie. Poke, poke. What's with the erotic voice? A quick poke in the back got an unexpectedly wonderful noise out of her. But we've already done her route.
もう、急に背中ツンツンしないで、くすぐったがりなの、そこ。
Don't tell me that. Wow, I didn't realize your back was your weak spot.
弱点っていうか、ゾクゾクしちゃう感じ？
Like good chills or like somebody's walking over your grave chills? Ho ho! Now, Boro the Koche, what are you doing here? Oh, oh, oh! That was a nice nugget of information.
何の用だったの？
Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it.
そう。
Sylvie faced forward and turned her back to me once more, revealing her weak spot. Poke. You really can't take it.
もう、オーロったら。
One more. Turn around again.
嫌よ、変な声が出ちゃう。
That sounds like a you problem. That's the whole point.
いやいや、オーロのエッチ。
Guilty. Come on, let me touch your back.
触るならご自分の背中にされて。
I'm a pretzel. Yeah, stop! My arm doesn't bend that way. Oh, she twisted my outstretched arm as hard as she could and held it against my back.
ご友人とはいえ、節度を保ってください。
Like you're showing right now. I get the picture already! Uncle!
まったくもう。次はねじるだけでなく、ねじ切りますよ。
Oh geez, we're gone past cutting off to ripping off. Oh, that hurts so bad.
人間の腕というのは、あそこまで回転しても大丈夫なものなのですね。
I used to play baseball, but you may not know that in this timeline.
何をされているのです？
怒らないで、エル。オーロのちょっとしたいたずらよ。
Sorry. When I saw the opportunity to tease a princess, the little kid in me kinda got carried away.
大人になったと思っていたけど、やっぱり位置は位置のままね。
Are you really surprised?
昔もこんな感じでよく女の子にいたずらしていたわ。
おやおや。
Well, it's a rite of passage for elementary school boys. The desire to mess with cute girls was something everyone did at one point or another.
具体的にはどんなことを？
Well, I wouldn't expect you to know about it. Just tiny stuff like bouncing off of each other or showing her spiders and whatnot.
そうそう。捕まえたセミを投げつけてきたりね。あと、執拗に私のお尻の穴に指を入れようとしてきたり。
We're going to die now.
は？
エキスナカ、子宮麻酔薬と凝結剤を用意しろ。腕を一本落とさなくては。
That was 10 years ago. We cannot be responsible for what we did 10 years ago. You've got it all wrong. You basically finger gun someone in the butt, and it's something Japanese kids do. See, she's cool with it. Things had gotten really out of hand, but I had managed to find out what I wanted to know over the course of the conversation.
まったく、日本人というのはよくわかりませんね。
オーロのエッチ。
Japanese people are raised under that level of degeneracy and erotic culture from a young age.
僕はしたことありませんよ。
Well, okay, the average Japanese person.
困ったものです。私も当時ついていけば、シルビー様の大切な箇所はお守りできたのに。
I got caught up on what Ella-san said for a second.
ん別に私がシルビー様のお尻を四六時中見張るとかそういう意味ではなくてですね。
Too late. No, it's not that. It honestly wasn't. You weren't around back then, right?
ん
エルが日本に来たのは今回が初めてよ。
Oh, that's right. We were trying to figure out if she had been at the camp. I see. That certainly helped clear things up after what Ria had told me. Scratch that. It actually made things all the more confusing. What about the rest of Ella-san's siblings? Ooh, sore spot. Did any of your siblings visit, namely the ones around your age? I remembered something Ria had said. Someone around our age with the same name, Ista, had been there with us at camp. And it was someone other than Ella-san. Who was it? While I was lost in thought, Ella-san spoke up.
私の兄弟姉妹は計6人。兄が1人、姉が2人おります。しかし兄とは15年、姉らとは10年と8年離れています。
Big family. Those pauses always get me.
弟は3人。一番上の次男が現在9歳ですので。
Huh? That was an account that shouldn't exist given the events of 10 years ago. Were there any others? Maybe a little sister?
おりません。私に妹はおりません。
Oh, that's interesting. Ella-san distinctly shook her head. What the? It was such a trivial question, but Ella-san was acting really strangely.
うおーい、ニュース
Okay, is it coffee milk is on sale? However, our conversation quickly came to an end when Reina rushed into the room. What are you going on about now?
ニュースだよ、ニュース。エルチンアイドル化計画に続報。
Oh man, we're one jump away from the human instrumentality project.
はあ
Oh wait, she wasn't supposed to know about that. Reina ran up and held out her smartphone. On her phone, she had the Twitster. On her phone, she had the Twitster app open and showed us one of her trending hashtags. It read, "A Lady Night's Day Off."
あらあら。
Oh.
ね。
はい。最悪な状況を引きましたね。
Ew. Okay.
金色ラブリッチェ。
I had forgotten how many times I had finger gunned Sylvie's butt when we were younger. This is really ominous music for that statement. Although I hardly felt any guilt for what I had done then. A guilty conscience was truly a self-serving thing. Something brought about through a mildly mischievous heart. I believed it was a genuinely trivial thing for people to do wrong. If I were to take that one step further, I could understand why those who had done wrong once or twice would ask for forgiveness. Finger gunning someone in the butt could cause serious harm, and I knew doing so as a grown-up was incredibly immature and possibly sexual harassment. However, if someone were to say, "Laugh it off and forgive me," then I could totally understand where they were coming from. With that said, modern society dictated that you get good and angry the first time around. You know, this is interesting going into what we know about Ayaka as well. Of course, that would be dependent on which routes you had played first. Because I could absolutely see how Ouro would think, "Oh man, am I the one that did that to her?" Once you let someone off the hook the first time, then it could lead to more problems in the future. That was just how things were these days. And the byproduct of it all were social networks.
この写真出回っちゃったね。
困ったものです。
こっちの写真も完全な隠し撮りだね。
ですね。
うわ、ご飯食べてるとこまで撮ってる。
Oh, that's creepy.
これは、さすがに困ります。
日本人というのはなかなかに品性下劣ですわね。
That's just human nature. That magazine publication must have sped things up. Ooh. Between Twitster and other social media platforms, Ellison was on the precipice of becoming an idol. She was practically an overnight sensation. To deliberately target the fairly inconspicuous, yet beautiful attendant rather than the princess, was this the true power of the internet? Or was this something Japanese people did? Everyone jumps on the bandwagon once something takes off. Taking photos in secret was a prime example of a crime that didn't take a toll on one's conscience. Rather than taking upskirt shots, the photographer focused exclusively on her face as she stood in frame, minding her own business. I certainly understood the desire to point a camera at Ellison, especially if I happened to have spotted her wandering around town. Ellison probably would have ignored it if a couple of strangers took 1 or 2 pictures of her in passing. I mean, makes sense with blonde hair. However, when 100 individuals snapped a photo of her, each from a different angle, then it became a problem.
エルチン美人だからしばらくは続くだろうね。
You said it. Sortilege had apparently begun to police the matter from their end. The photographers. I suddenly forgot how to say photographers. The photographers were reprimanded for their actions by the National Police Agency, which should stop 99% of them. To top it all off, the general tone of the situation suggested that anyone who had taken a photo was scum, and would probably be on the receiving end of the flame war. It should eventually resolve itself. However, there were 2 problems. One was that Ellison was still someone who worked behind the scenes. Secondly, she was an incredibly beautiful woman. If this had been Sylvie, who was already in the public eye, she could admonish their paparazzi-esque behavior and demand for the offending individuals to exercise self-restraint when it came to their public image rights. This was especially relevant for those in general public. However, these were the same people who performed a variety of mental gymnastics to justify their behavior in taking photos of the princess's shadow instead of Sylvie herself. It also went without saying that taking photos of a beautiful woman in secret, namely Ellison in this situation, would be in popular demand. Yeah, unfortunately that is very true. The more photos they took, the more followers they would earn. Sadly, there was no shortage of people whose self-worth was tied to the meaningless metric of online followers, and they would continue taking photos of unsuspecting women, even if it meant getting arrested for it. It would eventually stop, but it could take longer than average.
公式戦の日が心配です。
She was far more concerned with the fencing competition than the candid photographs of her circulating online. Ellison was an incredibly regal individual, so much so that she seemed like the kind of person who would just write them all off as long as they didn't take upskirt shots.
隠し撮りの危険があるなどとしたら試合自体が開けません。やはり辞退すべきか。
Aw. Being photographed in the middle of a fencing competition would not go over well. This was why she wasn't at practice today, on a Sunday. Yes. If there was a risk of Ellison being spied on and photographed, then that certainly applied to her fellow members as well. It could disrupt their ability to concentrate during the competition, which was absolutely essential in fencing. I mean, it could also distract their opponents. Luckily for Ellison, she hadn't been asked to step down from participating in the competition yet. I mean, it sounds to me like they kind of need her. Their odds of winning go up significantly if she's one of the team. If she's not, We don't really know how good the other team is. Ella-san was unusually dejected. She was invincible when it came to physical altercations, but she couldn't combat the random shudder of a person's camera.
まったく。試合当日は部外者完全立ち入り禁止として、寄進派で見張ればよろしいじゃありませんの。
That's not a bad idea, but I would see that as her thinking she's overstepping her bounds as a attendant. That'd probably be the best option. There was little hope that this sudden interest in Ella-san would die down by the day of the competition. If that were the case, then forbidding the media from accessing the facility during the event would be ideal. As luck would have it, we had Sylvie's royal cheat powers on our side to accomplish just that.
しかし、
Ella-san seemed to be at a loss for words for some reason. What was it?
いえ、決めたわエル。試合の日はそれで行きましょう。
Yes.
姫様。
ジーヤ、手配しておいて。
かしこまりました。
Have you been here this whole time?
うわ、いつからいた？
Okay, that answers my question. The older gentleman appeared out of thin air, politely bowed his head, and made his way off. Wait, does he have cloaking powers? Can he borrow Kira-chan's features? His ninja-like properties aside, that appeared to have settled the problem. Although Ella-san did look run down.
これでフェンシングのことは問題なし。今はもっと大事な問題について話し合うべきね。
What's for lunch?
何？
Hmm?
この隠し撮りそのものについては。
Oh. Sorry. Didn't know we were still on the serious topics. You could hear the anger dripping from Sylvie's voice. Oh, now I understood. You're right. Forget competition day for a minute.
このままノーガードってのは思んないね。まず取られないことから考える。確かに建設的ですわ。
Well, you could always take ninjutsu lessons from Borolakoche. Obviously, he's good at avoiding detection. Protecting yourself from being photographed was clearly easier said than done.
それなら一応、私も考えてはいます。
Huh? For real?
ええ、100% とは言えませんが、例えば、こんなのはどうでしょう。どうでしょう。
I somehow don't think that's going to help. That's a tough question to answer.
あえて言うなら、美術館って感じ。
Or a history museum. I'll bet it'll come to life in the middle of the night.
電撃呪文に弱そう。
It'll probably summon a healing slime.
これぞ、ソルティレージュは騎士院筆頭、イスタ家に伝わる完全防御形態。
What, are you going to go around with a bunch of knights in the phalanx position next?
これならば完璧に人相が隠せます。つまり隠し撮り犯も私が誰だかわからない。
その発想には大いなる落とし穴がございますわよ。
Just one? If anyone snaps a picture of you dressed like that, it'll cause even more problems.
てか最高でエルチンだとバレなくなってもさ。わあ、なんですか先輩これ。かっこいいですわ。写真撮ってよろしいです？
Wow, that failed almost instantly.
あれ？
She would draw attention by virtue of being an interesting-looking character, even if she wasn't a gorgeous knight. Ella-san is surprisingly cute, isn't she?
天然レベルはシルビーより高いかもって。
Well,
おかしいな。何をやっているんだか。
different ways. Common sense.
違うでしょエル。あなた問題の根本を履き違えているわよ。
はい。
今最も話し合うことは何？隠し撮りされたとか、隠し撮りに対策するとか、そういうのは後回し。この写真が全然可愛くないことでしょ？
Wait, the one in the center with her looking into the bread shop?
はい。
前言撤回。シルビーもど天然。撮るなら撮るでいいわよ。仕方ないもの。でも、ならもっと可愛く撮ってもらわなくちゃ。
はあ。
お姫様の感性だとああなの？
Maybe just Sylvie's.
まあ、生まれつき注目されるのは仕方ないという面はございますわね。国では皆が私たちのことを知っておりますし。
The so-called price of fame?
エルは可愛いんだから、こんな写真ばかりじゃ困るわ。わかっているエル。これはあなたにも責任があることよ。
私ですか？
Is this going to turn into a handsome Squidward situation where they try to make her look even better?
普段から可愛い格好をしておかないから、いざこういう時、しかめっ面の写真ばかり撮られてしまうのよ。
She's even more gorgeous!
それは別にいいことなのでは？
ダメよ！
すいません。
Even though they were both airheads, the situation quickly grew complicated due to Sylvie's position as Ella-san's superior.
つまりシルビー、こ
Oh
ういう
no.
ことかね。
Reina jumped into the mix.
今日はエルチンに可愛い格好をさせてみよう。
I knew she was going to that.
そうね。
はい。
I didn't quite understand how they had reached that conclusion. However, there was no way in hell I'd oppose them if it meant seeing Ella-san in cute clothes.
さあさあ、こっち来て。ちょっと古いけど品揃えのいい店があるんよ。
私は制服があれば十分で。
ダメよエル。この機会におしゃれも覚えなきゃ。
I don't think our fashion sense is poor. I mean, her everyday chill outfit's pretty cute.
単純に面白そうですわ。
Agreed. I decided to tag along with them.
さあ、着替えて。これならどこで撮られても完璧におしゃれで恥ずかしくないから。
Oh my.
これですか？しかしこれはちょっと。
いいじゃないのエル。レーナのファッションセンスを侮ってはいけないわ。着てみてちょうだい。
シルビー様。
命令よエル。着なさい。
Oh.
あなた全然止める気配ありませんのね。
What do you expect me to do about it? Why would I?
自分に責任がないところでは徹底して楽しむ主義ですのね。いい根性なさってますわ。
Well, excuse me.
さあ、エルチンを可愛くしてみよう企画第1弾いくよー。デルルルルルルルルル。
Are we just going to keep changing the name of this plan?
で
Oh my, indeed. Even the cat in the background's just like, very interesting.
ーん。わー、エッチ
なんですこのハレンチなのは。
I mean, maybe not scandalous, but it doesn't leave a lot to the imagination.
25年前のバブルの象徴、ボディコンシャス、略してボディコン。そろそろファッションが一巡する頃なんで再流行の兆しを見せています。日本でこれが流行ったんですの？80年代の肩パッドと同じで、当時は何かと白人さんのスタイルを基調にしたファッションを流行らせようとしてたのさ。
To be honest, it was a pretty ridiculous era.
その意味でもガチ白人さんのエルチンなら似合っちゃうでしょ、こういうの。どうだいオーロ。
100 points. Damn, she looked fine.
そうでしょそうでしょ。エルチンは前々からこういうエロい格好が似合うと思ってたんだ。エロいなだけに。
Poor thing.
ひどい侮辱です。
どうだい王女様。似合うとは思うけれど。
There's a butt coming and not just the one on screen.
あえて言うとレイナ、もう12月に入るわよ。 これからの時期こんなのは寒いんじゃないかしら。あー、なるほど。じゃあこれはひとまずキープってことで、次。一応夏用に買っておくわ。エル、来年来ましょうね。
勘弁してください。
Oh, she's got little tears in her eyes and everything.
止めませんの？
Nope. I'm looking forward to next summer, actually.
ゲスですわね。よし、次の衣装はこれだ。バーン。
Oh, look, you could be partners with Mina on pretty much every other situation.
これは何です？この何です？
まあ、かわいい。あらあら、よろしいんじゃなくて？
Of course she likes.
どうだい、オーロ。
100 points. I thought this was a clothing shop. This looks more like cosplay.
スースーします。何ですかこの服は。
お姫様に仕えるわけだからね。メイド服も持っておいた方がいいよねって。
一理あります。
Don't listen to Reina and her twisted logic.
メイド服？日本のエプロンドレスってこんななの？言われてみればエプロンはついてますけど、露出しすぎじゃなくて？メイド服はもっと機能性がございませんと。さすが本場の意見は厳しい。でもかわいいわね。日本のメイドさんってこんなかわいいの着てるんだ。本国でも採用いたしましょうか。
Isn't Sortilege a snowy country? I wouldn't recommend it.
ガタが食い込みます。
そこがいいんじゃん。
動きやすいのに動きにくい。この服はいまいちです。
なるほど。やっぱエルチンなら動きやすさ重視か。とすると、動きやすい服、動きやすい服。
Give her shorts, they're comfy and easy to wear.
これなら動きやすい。
No comment.
なるほど、動きやすい。
Oh my god.
でも、さらに食い込みます。これはもう服ですか？
Well, they are clothes. I don't know about the tail, but
これまた50年前から男性の絶対的な支持を受け、10年前のハッピー世代にも割とおなじみ、女性陣の最強装備と名高い服でございますことよ。どうだい、オーロ。
100 points.
全部100点ですわね。
I would be shocked if anything were to get less.
かわいいわ、エル。特にその頭の、それ何？
ウサギの耳だそうです。なぜついてるのかは分かりかねます。
Because cat ears don't go with the outfit?
かわいいじゃん。そうね。それが一番大事よね。あえて言うと、この格好で外出することになったら、警察が動きかねない点でしょうか。
Not if you say it's part of a marketing campaign for something.
あら、さすがにガン見しすぎ。
I'm reading the text. My bad. Anyone would gawk, though. That had to be it. I always thought Elle had a great figure. But her chest was out of this world. It never really occurred to me to look, given how modest her attire usually was. Really? Really? I feel like her normal night outfit is not that modest, but you know, differences in opinions, I guess.
かわいいからこれもいいと思うけど。レーナ、最初の条件を忘れているわ。これじゃ風邪をひいちゃうわよ。
Yeah, none of these are exactly winter outfits.
あ、そっか、忘れてた。じゃあもう一回選び直し。どれにしよっかな。
Do I get a choice?
露骨に残念そうな顔しない。
Sorry.
あったかい服でしょ。あったかい服、あったかい服。これだ。バーン。
Well, that is warm and cozy.
ああ、
これは温かい。
どうだいオーロ。
1 point.
あら、初めて100点が出ませんでしたわ。
I guess my previous statement stands corrected. It is a perfect score in a certain sense, though. We eventually left the shop without picking anything especially noteworthy. Wait, you mean she didn't get the dinosaur outfit? Aw. And why did you buy these?
何かの機会に使うかもしれないじゃない。
Oh boy. Unsurprisingly, Sylvie flashed her credit card, which likely had a ridiculously high credit limit, and bought every single outfit they had tried on. In fairness, I was expecting that. What the heck was she going to do with all those outfits? Did that mean Ella-san was going to wear those outfits again someday? Not a bad deal when I thought of it that way.
でも結局隠し撮りを回避する方法は見つかりませんでしたわね。
Surprise, somebody actually had been taking photos the entire time we were in there.
しゃあないよそこは。
All we could do was to wait for the storm to pass. If you really were afraid of people randomly taking your picture, then everything you did today made for the perfect bait.
確かに。
Reina snickered under her breath. It goes without saying that we were being mindful of surroundings while Ella-san changed, as we couldn't afford anyone taking her picture in such a revealing outfit. On the other hand, there was no way people wouldn't look at her while we casually made our way around town. Nowadays, everyone has a cell phone with a camera attached to it. In fact, I'd go so far as to say... And there it is.
お姫様とのツーショットゲット。
Take his arm off. This spelled trouble.
そこの者、今こちらに携帯を向けていたようだが。
何のことよ。
There was no telling if he had taken their photo on purpose, but he did have his smartphone at a blatantly odd angle. It was one thing to be secretive about it, but this guy was just a few feet away when he took their photo. With that, Ella-san stepped forward.
撮ってないっすよ。何も撮ってない。
今撮った写真を見せなさい。場合によっては破棄してもらいます。
And depending on what it is, I may delete you.
なんで俺だけそんな。撮ったって証拠でもあるんすか？
不服ならデータを見せなさい。
それはその個人情報とか。
She has
そっ
diplomatic
ち警察でもないのに。
immunity. The guy proceeded to grumble at Ella-san. He probably figured he could get through this if he whined enough. What a moron. Those excuses wouldn't get him off the hook when it was this serious.
いいから見せなさい。
Especially not when Ella-san was permitted to take extraterritorial action from Japan. Ella-san quickly closed the distance between them. He was acting suspiciously, but... when Ella-san took a step closer...
待て！
he ran away. He probably realized that there was no way he could talk himself out of this situation, or he simply succumbed to Ella-san's intense gaze and decided to make a quick getaway. Ella-san pursued him on the spot. Man, what a pain. You guys stay here. Reina, if this gets ugly, then find a safe place to hide.
うい。
I followed after Ella-san. Having a third-party presence should make it easier to recount the situation should things go south. Luckily, the man was very out of shape.
待ちなさい。難しいことを言うつもりはない。携帯を渡せばいいのです。
お
Their game of tag was over in an instant. That was a very dramatic build-up for a very short chase. The second Ella-san got serious, she caught up with the man and snatched the smartphone from his grasp without breaking a sweat.
過去のデータを見るにはどうしたら、こうか。やはり撮っていたか。シルビー様まで。いたずら心であろうことはわかりますが、シルビア様に対する盗撮は民事でなく刑事罰がつくレベルの犯罪行為ですよ。
ごめんなさい。
Everything had been settled by the time I caught up.
削除はするものとして今回は厳重注意にとどめます。あなた身分を証明できるものを提出しなさい。
身分って、
That's kind of what my question was too.
免許証なり保険証なりです。
Oh.
そんな、反省してますから。
I was sure he only meant this as a prank, but the man appeared petrified when he realized she'd go as far to look into his personal identity. I bet this was how a shoplifting housewife must feel. However, this was the kindest decision someone in Ella-san's position could possibly grant. When you considered the possibility of the deleted data being recovered, her only options were to either destroy the phone or look into his identity. Congratulations, you're about to have a dossier. There was no room for sympathy. Better get him as spooked as possible. I decided to watch over them. But the man... Is he running again? He was too terrified and took the worst possible measures. He ditched his cell phone, turning tail, and ran away again. An exasperated Ella-san shook her shoulders. She'd already proved that, in terms of running speed, he had no chance of getting away. But... hey, watch out! After some quick thinking, the man chose an escape route and made his way toward a nearby irrigation fence. Irrigation channels were around 5 meters across. There was no bridge anywhere near us, but the man had honed in on the narrow pipe which ran between them. Oh, that's going to end very poorly. It was the sort of pipe bridge elementary schoolers would cross as part of a test of courage. He raced over and clung to it. Slip.
Ah!
What? Kerklang. What a pitiable outcome. Him falling would have been pitiful on its own, but when his foot slipped and his groin made contact with the pipe underneath him, oh no. Oh, as a man, I sympathized.
危ない!
The situation was becoming even more dicey when the man lost consciousness while straddling the pipe and his center of gravity shifted. His upper body slowly inclined and was about to fall into the river. Tug. Ella-san cleared the fence in a single bound and clutched onto him.
重い
However, Ella-san was struggling to hold him upright now that the heavy-set man had passed out. Both of them would plop into the water channel if I didn't do something. Ella-san! I rushed my way up the fence. I was going to get down the other side to help, but...
無理か
Drop the man!
市松殿
Huh?
任せた
Hey! Something crossed Ella-san's mind, and before I could make it down to the other side, she hurled herself from the top of the fence and into the irrigation channel. Wasn't expecting that. The leverage principle? Huh. She used the full weight of her body and... lifted the man's body. I took the man from her. Ella-san smiled at me as if to say thank you, then shifted her focus to the water system. The water level was low, not even 30 centimeters, since it was winter. She was liable to hurt herself if she didn't make a safe landing. The unconscious man would have been seriously injured, but Ella-san managed to pull it off. It was a good, rational judgment call.
やや冷たそうですがね
The extra momentum she'd used to rescue the man had pulled Ella-san in the direction of the river, casting her into the water channel. It was a good, rational judgment, but I considered it unacceptable to have Ella-san fall into this filthy water channel. Ella-san! I heaved the man's body roughly to the side of the road and threw myself toward the water channel as well. Rip. I grabbed Ella-san. Clang. The fence I had taken hold of made an ear-splitting sound. Ow! Ella-san was about to jump down with full force, so the extra impact from her weight caused my arms to be painfully tugged in both directions. But
市松殿。
Quick! Climb up! Quick! Ow! Ow! Ow!
はい。
Ella-san managed to avoid falling into the water. Given a second to regain her balance, Ella-san was able to turn herself around in no time and extended her hand toward the fence. We had both avoided falling in. We shared a quiet laugh. Ah, crap. I let my guard down. In that instant, the strength left my injured hand. And finally, I fell. Grab. Or not.
ありがとう。助けられました。
Right back at you. This time it was Ella-san's arm that supported me. In terms of physical strength, it appeared she was stronger. As a man, this was as pathetic as it got. After she caught me in her arms, Ella-san carried me up over the fence.
少々際どかったですね。
Little more than a little. I'm not sure that a little covers it. It had been quite terrifying. The nerves in my arms were trembling, and I was stiff as a board, but light as a feather. Ella-san gave me a quick pat on the back.
助けられました。ありがとう、市松殿。
Oh, don't worry about it. She had wound up saving me in the end anyway. Unfortunately, the one person who should be thanking her was presently out cold and foaming at the mouth like a crabby. And so, I had her wait until I calmed down. My arms and legs had gotten too wobbly to stand properly.
勇敢だと思ったら、これですか。
Well, I used up all of my adrenaline. She grinned as she supported me. What else could you expect? I wasn't like Ella-san, who seemed like she came straight out of a fantasy world. Please spare me that action-packed lifestyle. It was only a water channel, but the thought of falling in was terrifying. The only thing was, I hadn't gone stiff purely out of fright. This position, I knew what this was. Ella-san was hugging me. Her body was soft and warm, and she had this bittersweet aroma. Oh, I really was just in a state of numbness. It wasn't like I wanted to be embraced. But Ella-san seriously did have a fantastic figure.
あらー、どうなりまして？
Bah! That was louder than I expected. I pulled away and jumped backward, and fell into the channel. Oh, no. Ella-san was a little surprised. Afterward, Ella-san called up the black-suited troops and had the man, who was on the verge of tears, hauled off. It was likely going to be a terror-filled night for him, but hey, I doubted they'd take his arm. Maybe. We decided to head back. The rest of the day was relatively uneventful.
隠し撮りの対策は見つかりませんでしたわね。
I don't know. If the reputation about this event spreads, that might be a pretty good deterrent, at least for anybody who is not in really good physical shape.
可愛く撮られるための服はいろいろ買ったけど、
Silver lining?
買った服着て撮られたらエルチン知女疑惑が出かねないのが問題だね。
Reina, you're the one that recommended them.
はあ、致し方ありません。来週日曜までに落ち着くことを祈るばかりです。
Ella-san and the rest of us were in the mood to give up. Once something went viral on social media, there was nothing you could do to stop it. All we could do was wait for everyone to get sick of it. Or so I assumed. Oh yeah, it makes sense that Jokisaki would have some pull in this regard. What the? Jokisaki was shooting me a questioning look. What was her deal? Was she upset that I was still using the foyer or something? I was deep in thought when...
カバリロさんのことだから何も言いませんけど、あまり人前でくっつくのはどうかと思うわね。
Oh my god, did somebody catch pictures of that and now there's going to be rumors cycling around? It's like, who is the mysterious attendant holding, or not holding, well, no, holding, yes, that's actually correct. Who is she hugging out in public, in the water channel? Without any context. Huh? With that parting yet confusing comment, Jokosaki went on her merry way. I don't know that I would ever describe her way as merry, but sure. That was when I noticed. Several of the boarders in the foyer were looking back and forth between us and their phones and smirking. What the? Reina, who seemed to have been chatting with one of our fellow boarders on Linue, let out a hysterical yelp. She looked up something or other. If it's a false rumor, does it still qualify as legit? Huh?
何です?
She showed me. She was on the Twister. I keep wanting to say Twister because I just missed that first T. Well, second T? Whatever. She was on the Twister app. I didn't know who had made the post, but it included a picture.
Huh?
Huh? A little bit of a delayed reaction.
金色ラブリッチェ
Close enough. I wasn't sure what happened to that guy from before, but we miscalculated and hadn't considered the option that he wasn't the only one taking candid photographs. We'd somehow forgotten that nearly everyone other than him was also carrying around a device that could take pictures. To say nothing for those who unintentionally take candid photos. Elle had pursued that man and had taken him down in an instant. She'd even gone so far as to rescue him after he'd escaped into the river. Passers-by followed Elle-san's cool endeavors closely with their cell phone cameras, and it saved not just photos, but videos too. And what better way to end off Elle-san's theater production than a passionate embrace from a mysterious Japanese man. Ah, there it is.
カバレロさん、市松くんと付き合ってるって本当?
That rumor wheel just keeps on turning.
カバレロ様に恋人が? 悔しいけどあの方が幸せなら
You know, I have a sneaking suspicion that some of this is your fault, voyeur girl A.
だってさ
I know.
困ったものです
Everyone was talking about it. Even though it was a simple misunderstanding, word had quickly spread about what had occurred leading up to that moment at the river as well. I bet 9 out of 10 people would assume we were an item after seeing the photos of the two of us hugging. I'm sorry about all of this, Elle-san.
こちらこそ市松殿には迷惑をおかけします
That's okay, my shoulder will pop back in eventually. Elle-san was being so cool about all of this. But this would lead to some unexpected side effects. Nausea, vomiting, headache.
ですが助かりましたこんなことで隠し撮りがやむとは
今日で3日目。新しい写真は出ていません。完全に波が引いたようです。
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. If she's not available, the interest wanes a little. That's a silver lining. The onslaught of nosy photographers had backed off ever since Sunday's scandal. Although I was sure word about that guy who got his balls crushed by that pipe and was hauled off by a group of individuals in black suits played a part in that as well.
盗撮というのは一種の独占欲に近い性癖の発露。対象に恋人がいるとなれば、発露の先はまた新しい対象を求めるのでしょうね。
でなくても恋人発覚みたいなスクープ写真が出たら単なる隠し撮りじゃインパクトで負けるんるんし
I don't know about that. All of these different conditions came together to promptly eliminate the peep shot problem.
運が良かったというのが大きいでしょうが感謝します市松殿助けられました
You're welcome. Don't worry about it. It was 100% pure luck after all. It wasn't as if I had done anything. But that did leave one issue resolved before her fencing competition on Sunday. This must be what a blessing in disguise meant. Elle looked quite happy with herself. Sylvie, however, did not. Sylvie was thinking something over.
よし、決めた。ねえ、エル。
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match.
なんでしょう。
あなた、オーロと結婚しなさい。
You know, I said that jokingly, but here we are.
はい。
今日からエルは、オーロのフィアンセになるの。
Officially, or just for the sake of publicity?
はい。
Sylvie-san! Sylvie made an outrageous suggestion in her usual absent-minded tone. Hold up a second. I, Ichimatsu Ouro, would not panic. Take this with some presence of mind. Elle-san and I? Huh? Where did that come from?
そうね。オーロの気持ちを忘れていたわ。どうかしら、オーロ。エルはこんなにも可愛くて自慢の私のお友達よ。結婚できるなんてとてもラッキーだと思うわ。
I mean, yes, but I don't know that I can afford the dowry. That's... well?
オーロだって男の子。エルみたいな子とお付き合いできるなら嬉しいでしょ？
Well, sure.
オーロも快諾してくれたわ。
That might be a little bit, excessive.
決まりね。エルとオーロは今日から婚約者同士よ。
Wait. Calm down for a second, Sylvie. This conversation has gone way off the deep end. Although Sylvie nodded, she seemed confused by what I had said. It had been a while since Princess Sylvie had said something stupid, but here we are. Let's talk this through calmly. Calmly, okay?
私はずっと冷静よ。
Where did all of this marriage talk come from? Isn't that kind of strange? Right, Reina?
でも、エルチンと結婚できるって、オーロ側からノーっていう理由はないよね。
That is both reassuring and insulting at the same time. Alright, you be quiet. Bail me out, Kikuchiyo.
そうですね。シルビアさん、ソルティレージのことは知りませんが、日本では結婚というのはまず第一にお互いが結婚したいと思うことが大切です。オーロ君とエロイナさん、ご本人同士が結婚したいと思うところから始めなくては。
それはそうね。私としたことが2人の気持ちを考えないなんて。特にエルは私に逆らえないのに王族の傲慢だったわ。ごめんなさい、エル、オーロ。
Forget about apologizing to us. You're going to need to apologize to Rhea. You know how long she's been planning arranging us getting together?
いえ。
Everything's fine as long as you understand.
じゃあまずはお付き合いからにしましょう。
Okay.
今日から2人は恋人同士よ。そして2人がその気になったら結婚するの。いいわね、エル、オーロ。
Alright, Kikuchiyo, what's your argument for this one? You totally don't get it.
恋人もダメなの？ なに、オーロ。こんなに可愛いエルのどこが不満？
Well, the possibility of losing an arm at any given time is not exactly a perk. Like I said, I didn't mean it that way. Hey, Reina, help a poor guy out.
エルチンのおっぱいを拒否する理由は、オーロってホモだっけ？
Alright, that's enough out of you. Kikuchiyo, I need your help again.
ですからシルビアさん、お付き合いも本人同士の気持ちがあってのことですから。
I don't think that argument's gonna work twice.
それは、そうね。
Maybe it will.
いかなる富や権力をもってしても、人の心は変えられない。権力の行使者たる私だからこそ忘れちゃいけないのに、い つの間にか傲慢になっていたようだわ。
Yeah, it's fine as long as you understand she does not understand.
ええ、反省したわ。まずは二人に好き同士になってもらえばいいのね。
Negative, it didn't go in, it just impacted on the surface. This is the same routine you pulled earlier.
あらオール、エルを好きにならない理由が。
Okay, that's what you call a loaded question. No matter how I answer it, there's a bullet in every chamber. Yeah, this is the same back and forth as before. It's turning into an Abbott and Costello bit.
つまり
Reina, don't say anything. No need to speak up. Keep your mouth shut. Give them a piece of your mind already, Ella-san. It's your job to stop Sylvie when she's on a rampage.
そうでした。話がつかめなくてつい。
Although, speaking of Rampage, that dinosaur outfit looks a lot more like a character from Rampage. What was it, Lizzie? The one that turned into the giant lizard? Completely different segue. Anyway. Now that Ella-san was back in the mix, it felt like we could somehow wrap all of this up. In conclusion,
エルが隠し撮りされる危険はエルが誰かと恋仲であれば減るのよね。
well, I do think that's true for the general public. Putting sketchy paparazzi and their jobs aside, any unsolicited pics from an average citizen were a prank and nothing more. You could probably get away with taking a random photo of her out in public, but prying into her private life was simply out of the question. And worse yet, there was no shortage of self-defined creeps who would go out of their way to invade someone's privacy and upload their findings to social media. Okay, that sounds right. Then there were the sort of lowlives who would come out of the woodwork to take photos because something was scandalous. But this development may thin out their numbers.
なら少なくともフェンシングの試合の日まではエルに恋人がいるという状況は理想的じゃない？
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
なるほど。
Yeah, she had a point.
だから二人には結婚してほしいの。
飛びすぎです。ですが、そこまでの話は一理ありますね。つまり、
フェンシングの試合の日までオーロとエルチンには恋人になってもらう。
Convoluted, but not a terrible plan. Pretend, that is. Pretend lovers. Although this was still an awfully high hurdle to clear. What do you want to do, Ella-san?
どうすると言われましても、私はイスタ家が必要としなければ終生婚姻には縁がないと思います。
That's kind of sad, actually.
ですが市松殿は自由に恋愛できるのです。迷惑になるのでは？
No. Of course not. So just ignore what Sylvie said for a second. We'll pretend to be lovers until the day of your competition, and that's it. Are you okay with that? I didn't mind. I wanted to resolve this secret picture-taking nonsense. If it worked out in Ella-san's favor, then I was all for it. Lovers with Ella-san. Even if we didn't take it that far, it'd make me happy if it meant we could improve our existing relationship.
試合のためですか。ならばお願いしたいですね。フェンシング部にはだいぶお世話になっていますので。
決まりね。
And that was how, in a relatively uneventful way, my bizarre relationship with Ella-san began. Sylvie's got the giggles. When I glanced over at Sylvie, I could tell she was up to no good and scheming something or other. Now she's got a plan. Oh yeah, sorry, Rhea. Pretend lovers.
お前シルビーが好きなんじゃなかった
10 years ago, maybe. I've said this before, but no. She loves me, but I guess that's not right either. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
そっか。世の中結局は父のデカさが勝つってことか。
Yeah, no, I feel like there's not a good answer for this.
お姫様ですらその摂理には抗えない。はは、世の中って残酷だよな。ちなみに特に理由はないが、俺は巨乳好きは全員そこから落ちてほしいと思ってる。理由はないが。
I think she might have just insulted all of us. To tell you the truth, I'm pretty sick of dealing with all of these misunderstandings that keep popping up lately.
あっそ。
Rhea was no fool, so she should be able to understand where I was coming from so long as I opened up to her about it.
でもなんか、なんだろう、おかしくね？
Yes, very. How so? It was all strange if you asked me, but I couldn't tell what part she meant specifically. I tilted my head and...
誤解だ同好系はやり飽きてるってのは、最初言ってた結婚云々のくだりだよな。
Yeah, she suggested it out of nowhere and...
そこだ。そこがおかしい。
Right? It would have been fine if we were pretending to be a couple, but...
ちげえよ、バカ。
Okay, now I'm confused. Well, that was mean.
シルビーが命令したのか？しかも自分の部下に。
Yes.
付き合うよう見せかけたらどう？じゃなく、強権発動してくっつけようとしてきたのか？
Yes. Ah. Rhea had a point. It was weird. Sylvie never ordered anyone around, especially not Elle-san or those black-suited guards of hers. Once the order was given, they would follow and obey their princess without question. To the knights who served her, that wasn't a duty, but an honor. It would bring them great shame if they failed to carry out their mission. And it wasn't unheard of for people in their position to take their own limbs as punishment, or worse. Knowing that, Sylvie avoided issuing direct orders unless it involved some big exaggerated joke. It is bizarre.
なんか裏があるっぽいな。ま、俺には関係ねえけど。
That is a lie, but you do a very good job of playing it off. Rhea quickly brushed the subject off. You really do think a lot about Sylvie, don't you?
あ？
You should just go and see her. She'd welcome you with open arms, Soma-kun. What? It's true. Okay, bye. Rhea ran off on top of the water tank. Maybe I'd gone too far? I'd better call it quits while I was ahead. Even after she found out they were childhood friends, Rhea was strangely adamant about keeping her distance from Sylvie. I'd like to think she had a good reason for avoiding Sylvie following her enrollment. And I knew there was no real reason for me to pry, not on this route anyway. But if nothing else, it didn't sound like Rhea hated Sylvie. That alone made me happy. With that, I headed back to my dorm room. What should I do for dinner? Ah, what was that smell? Cream stew? My hopes were shattered when I realized the smell wasn't coming from the cafeteria. Did that mean someone was making it for themselves? Damn. Maybe I should make some cream stew for myself. Cream, consomme... Wait, how did that recipe go again? I don't even know how that latter part's pronounced. Oh well, didn't really want to bother making it, so I was probably going to order takeout again. Thanks, Black Card. Later, back at the dorm. Hi. You know, I had a sneaking suspicion that that was the case.
おかえりなさい。
Nice to see you too. Why was she here?
本日よりシルビー様のご命令により市松殿の下で暮らすことに相なりました。
I'm sorry, what now?
あら、オーロからかけてくるなんて珍しいわね。何かご用だった？
What did you do?
あ、こっちは大事件があるのよ。
Oh my god.
今日見つけたメロンパンのお店がとっても美味しくて。
Oh, it's always the melon pan. Okay, that's enough of that. Anyway, I'm calling about Ella-san.
恋人になってくれて感謝するわ。一緒に暮らすのはちょっと口うるさいけれど、いい子だから受け止めてあげて。
Okay. I know that, and I'm magnanimous enough to accept her, but what's all this living together nonsense?
どうして？ひどいわ、オーラ。エルは一緒に暮らすには何か不服のある子だって。
Why do you always spin this around? Oh, don't give me that! Wait, did we just hang up on Sylvie?
はい。
I'm really surprised that Ella-san didn't try to lop off our arm for that. After speaking with your employer, she's retracted all of this living together business. Please head home.
いろいろとすいません。
Ella-san, you really shouldn't obey every order Sylvie gives you.
そういうわけでは。ただシルビー様はやはり主君にあたりますゆえ。
As long as we were on the subject. Now that the initial shock of her arrival had died down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was different. I realized the wonderful aroma of cream stew I had caught a whiff of outside was coming from this very room. I knew it. Which meant, putting the living together stuff aside for a second, is it okay if I eat that? I pointed to the lightly simmering pot. The small induction cooking pot looked like it was about to burst.
はい、もちろん。サラダも作っておきました。味覚の好みがわからないので、私好みですが、よろしければどうぞ。
And this is the point where he completely changes his tune about them living together. It's like, well, if I get to eat like this every night.
甘いものはお好きですか？デザートにフルーツヨーグルト、冷蔵庫にあります。あと1時間ほど冷やせば食べ頃かと。では、私は帰ります。失礼いたしました。
Wait, you can't just cook all of this and then immediately leave.
はい。ですが、一緒に暮らすという話は。
Look, living together and eating together are two different things. Never mind all of that. You made us dinner, didn't you? We should eat it together. If she left now, this feast she went to such an effort to make was bound to leave a bad aftertaste in my mouth. We decided to have just dinner together. After we washed our hands. Mina-chan!
夕飯のお時間ですわ。ゲロ、本日の献立は。
Yeah, it's already been taken care of.
あら、エロいな。
The three of us ended up having dinner together.
カミナル様がここに住み出して、早1週間ですが、ひょっとしてお二人は夕飯をご一緒しているので？
Apparently, but this is the first time I'm hearing it. We have breakfast every day. Dinner's just on days Mina-chan feels like it.
厳密に申せば、抜き打ちで見張ることにしていますわ。この男、ちょっと目を離すと、すぐにマナーを忘れますの。
In the middle of stuffing the stew in our mouths, just like, huh?
ほら、肘が下がっていますわよ。
Oh my god. Right. I straightened my back and faced the table. Mina-chan could be a bit of a nag, but she was doing it for my benefit.
カミナル様のこちらでの生活は、シルビー様ともども心配しておりましたが、楽しそうで何よりです。
That might be a bit generous.
楽しくなどありませんわ。
She agrees.
まあ、庶民の視線に立つのは新鮮ではありますけど。ほら、ゲロ、スプーンは音を立てない。
Sorry. I was feeling so self-conscious that I wasn't minding my manners. After all, Ella-san, your cooking came out great.
そうでしょうか。
This tastes amazing. Stew, bread, and salad certainly made for a simple combination. Even though Ella-san's salad was lightly seasoned with salt, it had a very intricate aroma thanks to the healthy amount of herbs, and I was confident that I could scarf it down with little effort. The bread was about what you'd expect, but the stew was delicious and made for the perfect side dish. Yeah, the stew itself was incredible. The potatoes are nice and soft, they have a great flavor, and they're practically melting in my mouth.
お芋を口に入れたまま喋らない。はしたないですわよ。
How is that bad manners? What, you can't describe the sensation of eating the food?
でも、感想には同感ですわ。
Excuse me, like, these potatoes are perfectly adequate. Even Mina-chan, with her refined palate, seemed to approve.
シチューを作り始めて一段落したところで一度急激に冷やすのがポイントです。大きな一手間ですが、出来上がりに雲泥の差が出る。
Makes sense. Stops the cooking right away. Works with eggs too.
雪中行軍の訓練などを経験すると食事しか楽しみがありませんからね。自然とこうした知識を集めたくなるのです。
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you just take it off the pot and it instantly chills. Isn't that how it works? As rough as her circumstances may have been, her cooking was nothing short of divine. Ah, it's so good. Ella-san, you'll make a great wife someday.
そうでしょうか。
One day, even if you become a comfortably plump mother or the sort of old, bespectacled granny that lives out of a house practically carved from a pumpkin, you'll still make stew every night, and your grandkids will love you for it.
どういうイメージですか？
You have no idea.
そうした牧歌的な将来が、イスタ家に見込めるかはともかく。
Look, it's that or retiring to Florida.
このシチューは抜群ですわ。胸を張りなさい、エロイナ。
恐縮です。
The three of us shared dinner in an unexpected form. It was fun, and the food was nothing short of delicious. After we finished eating, we wound up relaxing and enjoying each other's company. Let's set some ground rules while Sylvie's not here. How far should we take this pretend lovers thing? Wait, is Mina... We had that discussion primarily in class, so Mina wasn't there for it. I'm assuming that Sylvie briefed her, but that's kind of a bold assumption. I half expected her to be like, wait, what now? This was the perfect time to discuss the finer details of our relationship, now that Sylvie and Reina, who were the two biggest troublemakers we knew, were out of the mix.
そうですね。私の個人的な市松殿の迷惑を考えないでの要望を述べるなら、対外的に市松殿が私の恋人であると発表する。ノーブル学園内の生徒にはそう思わせておく。しかし学外の盗撮には無用な写真はつかませない。
How exactly do you propose we do that?
これくらいの距離感を試合の日まで続けさせてもらえたらと思います。
I agree. That much should be fine. We wanted people to talk and spread rumors about us, as that should help prevent people from taking candid photos of Ella-san. However, we'd only provoke their curiosity further if we forced it down people's throats, so we needed to show some level of restraint. We'll act friendly, but just enough that nobody is entirely sure how close we are until competition day. How does that sound?
理想的です。
ふむふむ。つまるところ、今よりちょっぴり仲良くなるということでよろしい？
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
ですね。
I'd like to think we were friends, but we weren't especially close. After what had happened on our first date, back when Sylvie's imagination got the best of her, I wouldn't exactly say things had gone well for us. We were closer now than we were back then, though. Better make that our objective going forward. Will this pose any problems for Sortilege? Sylvie tended to ignore anything so political, so I had to ask the calmer princess her opinion. Mina-chan thought for a moment.
エロイナのことですから、根回しは早々に済ませているでしょうが、あなたがフェンシングに入れ込むということは、お姉様の警護はすでに調整しておりますわね。
Yes, but it hasn't panned out terrifically.
もちろんです。
ならば私から言うことはありませんわ。シスア家及び楽団派は、あなたのイスタ家騎士院派の恋愛事情には何ら関与いたしません。お好きになさいな。
Tell that to Sylvie.
は。
That was a pretty exaggerated way of getting permission. Would any complications arise from her family if a knight like Ella-san found a boyfriend? Talk about a huge pain. Okay, well, we'll assume there are no problems.
これからよろしくお願いします。市松殿。
I will, Ella-san.
老婆心ながら一つ忠告させていただきましょうか。
I'm a little tentative about it, but go for it. What?
仲良くなるというなら、まず直すべきはそこですわ。
Oh, that's actually reasonable.
市松殿にエルさん。
Ah, yeah.
なるほど。
But dropping honorifics with Ella-san...
私をちゃん付け、お姉様を呼び捨てにしているにしては、ずいぶんお行儀がよろしいですわね、ゲロ。
Okay, Sylvie pretty much insisted on that one. I hadn't realized how daring I'd been around the two of them, so Mina-chan certainly did raise a valid point. Alright, could I do this? Could I belt it out like I meant it? Calling her Chan would be weird, so... Ella.
はい。オーロ殿。
Duh.
殿はいらなくてよ。
I think it's going to be harder for her.
でしょうか。
Yeah, if we were boyfriend and girlfriend anyway.
はあ、では、オーロ。
This is ridiculously embarrassing, huh?
同感です。
We were taking a step in the right direction with this pretend lovers act, and yet... such a task would likely be more difficult than I had given it credit for. Shoot, this is gonna be hard for me. I always refer to her as Ella-san even when I'm talking about her
お
off...
はようございます、先輩。
Oh, another one for the counter. Morning. You're awfully chipper.
ところで、先輩、2年のカバリエロ先輩とお付き合いしてるって、本当ですか？
Yes. I'll leave it to your imagination.
わあ、大人な回答だ。
Okay. My plan was now in motion and we had made some steady progress.
へえ、ガチで婚約したんだ。
Thanks, Raina. We're not hitched, just something similar. We were pretending to be lovers. We had made some concrete rules. From today until the day of her fencing competition, Ella and I would be lovers.
おいおい、黒髪だけじゃなく父フェチかよ。
Ask me again when we go down Jokasaki's route. You bring up her boobs a lot. Feeling self-conscious or something?
は？
It's tough to tell through clothes these days, but the right bra really does make a world of difference. Is our Reina-san lacking in the booby department by chance?
ならぼけ！
Ow! We deserve that. She nailed me straight in the stomach.
乙女の父はいつだってデンジャーなんだ。軽々しく笑うんじゃない！このスカタンが！
I don't know that we did either of those. I'm sorry. I hadn't anticipated being on the receiving end of Reina's terrifying outburst, and immediately apologized.
はあ、いや本当に私小さくないよ。小さいわけじゃないからね。
No, they're not, but honestly, it's a little hard to tell for most of the characters in this game. Her tone gradually grew more and more serious.
証拠見せようか。
This is a trick question, isn't it? I would love to see, but this isn't the time or place.
でもさ、このサイズを維持するのは大変なのさ。お腹にはいかないよう気を使わなきゃだし、食べ過ぎたってダイエットするとまず父から減るし。
We're learning more about Reina on this route than we did on her own route.
エルチンってその辺無頓着じゃない？
Yeah, she's the type of girl who eats and moves around a lot. She didn't eat as much as Sylvie did, but Ella did eat often. Yeah, nobody eats as much as Sylvie does. Ella had earned her slender frame from an overly active lifestyle, which only further accentuated her bountiful breasts and butt. But these.
適当にやってるだけでいい感じのスタイルになっていく。この遺伝子的な設計図。これがもう私に言わせりゃ詐欺なのよ。
They do say Caucasians put on weight easily, but she's the type where it all goes to her chest instead of her stomach, huh?
憎い。あの遺伝子が憎い。
I feel you. You're really sour about this, aren't you? Well, what do you know?
おはよう、オーラ、レーナ。
Yoro-chan?
ういっす、ずる遺伝子。遺伝子？
The usual two caught up with us.
おはようございます。
And then there were three. Ella included.
どうしました？
Nah, it's nothing. My eyes immediately wandered to her chest, and I couldn't help but think, wow, they totally are huge. Time for a redo. I wanted to be a pleasant classmate to her. Morning, Ella. Whoops. I guess we weren't just classmates. Morning, Ella.
はい、おはようございます、オーラ。
You could cut the tension with a knife. I still wasn't used to this and broke into a strained grin.
二人が名前で呼び合ってるってなんだか新鮮だわ。
Trying.
おいおい、オーロ照れてるかよ。
Oh, shut up. It wasn't as if I experienced something life-altering, but...
いそいそ。いそいそ。カバレロさんとね。庶民はほんと権力者に取り入るのがうまいわ。
Nobody asked you. Rumors were spreading around class like wildfire.
本当なのか？市松がカバリエロさんとって。
No comment.
市松くんのクラスへの馴染み方はただものではないと思ってたけど、やはり会話術みたいなものが僕らと違うのでしょうか。
I'd say I have high charisma, but that's not true. Some of my peers teased me for it, but I generally ignored them by refusing to comment on the subject. And, as an aside, the one thing that had surprised me was...
なんだこの気持ちは。くそ、庶民相手にこんなにも敗北感が。
Excellent.
わかります。
What? You guys had crushes on Ella... I mean, Ella?
そういうわけでは。ただ、やはり特別な方ですからね。こちらも特別な見方をしていたのは確かです。
Okay. I could see that for Kikachiyo. I might be able to see it with Yamamoto, judging from her personality. Saigo... Based off of his tastes, don't know if I believe that one.
彼女、目がいいんだよな。キリッとして。かっこいいっていうか、なんか、女だけど男前っていうか。
Starting to understand Saigo's perception a little more.
それもありますが、クルス・クラウンさんと話している時の慈しみの表情が印象的です。
There it is.
優しくて、あったかくて、母性的と言うべきでしょうか。
女性的かつ男性的。あんな人他にいないよ。
I retract my previous statement.
彼女は僕の母親になってくれるかもしれなかった女性です。
Right. They were being pretty gross, but I knew she was extremely popular with the guys and girls.
ああ、そっか。こんなことならもっと早くカバレロ様にお気持ちを伝えたかったわ。
Bingo.
いや、その場合は普通に断られてへこんでただけだろうけどね。
It went without saying she was popular with the ladies too.
ん？なんでしょう？
Nothing. Although our arrangement of being lovers was only temporary, it finally hit me. Ella really was the ideal woman. Just to be safe, we explained everything to the fencing club advisor.
まあまあ、公式試合のためにそこまで気を使ってくれなくてよかったのに。
But how do you know that they'll keep it to themselves?
いえ、私も楽しみにしている試合ですから。
でも助かるわ。隠し撮りに対する不安は部員たちからも出ていたから、これで収まってくれるなら。
I can't say it will stop them completely, but it should lower the chances of them being ogled. I assumed the reporters from the weekly tabloids might show up, but I doubted many would dare to trespass on school grounds without permission. I didn't care if we were walking a tightrope, for participating in the event without worry was what it was all about.
市松くんの処遇と、ここ数日カバリュラさんが練習に来なかった理由は分かりました。今日からはまた練習に参加してくれるわね。
Me or her?
はい、ご迷惑でなければ。
Ella responded happily. Even if it had only been a couple of days, she'd still been out of the mix and was now raring to go.
そうだ、せっかくだし市松くんも参加していかない？
Okay, I guess the answer was both. Huh? I'm an amateur.
いいのよ。うち男子部員がいないから見ていってくれると嬉しいわ。
Well, way back in the common route, eons ago, we did fence and actually managed to hold our own, okay? I ended up being recruited for some reason. I'll just observe then. Given that I needed to stick as closely to Ella as possible, I decided to accept her offer. With that, Ella went to get changed. What should I do? Maybe I could play around with a sword again? I don't know. We're in public. That might not be a good idea.
おーっと、剣が滑った。
Oh no, they're trying to kill us. Whoa! The sword-wielding girl thrust at me. I narrowly dodged, but... Yep. Ow. I got slashed.
月を避けられても即座に霧に展開できる。新選組副長の考案したこのガトツに隙はない。
I mean, it could have been worse. I was half expecting to be like Olaf. I've been impaled. Who are you? One of Ella's underclassmen, right? I had seen them practicing together often. Not that I'd ever spoken to her, nor did I know her name.
庶民に名乗る名などないわ。
Fencing Club Girl A it is then.
だが覚えておきなさい。あなたはこのノーブル学園フェンシング部全員を敵に回したと。
I don't know. Ella seems to like us fine, and the advisor seems cool with us, so... How about that? How do you like them apples?
いつどこからでも刺されると思いなさいまし。
Okay. Whoa. I never could have imagined such a troublesome scenario. Every look directed at me from the girls in the dojo was filled with disgust and animosity. I usually just get that from Jogasaki. The genuine murderous intent I could sense in them was impressive, and entirely unlike any of the looks I used to get in the class or at the dorm. This could get ugly.
戻りました。
Saved by the Elle. Ella returned from the changing room.
オーロも今日は参加するのでしたね。楽しみです。
I don't know about that now. It's not like I'm going to spar with you or anything, Ella.
ルールは私が教えますから、少しずつ覚えましょう。体を動かすのは楽しいですよ。オーロと一緒にやりたいのです。
Well, when you put it like that. Just for a little while, then.
はい。
呼び捨てで呼び合ってる。
And this is the timeline in which we die by stabbing.
羨ましも羨ましすぎて吐き気が。
You sound like it. What could I do about this? Ella and the rest of the representative team for the competition were busy honing their battle forms. In the meantime,
ほら豚、足が止まってるわ豚、この豚。
Sure. I had them teach me basic fencing moves. Like this? Well,
意外と覚えがいいのね。
yes, I'm good like that.
でも全然ダメ。優雅さがないし、なんかもう顔がダメ。
Well, I can't do anything about the grace, but I could probably put a bag on my head. What does that mean? Although my teacher may have been unreasonable, I found fencing to be quite enjoyable. I was a guy, so I got plenty of enjoyment from swinging a sword around. As annoying as their harassment was, they didn't pose any real threat. Obviously, getting hit in the eye or otherwise with fencing equipment would be bad, but it's not like any of them would actually seriously harm me. Right? It was mostly verbal abuse, but I could easily ignore their trash talk. And as far as any stamina-related issues went,
オーロ、練習はどうです？
decently, I guess.
楽しんでくれているなら何より。みんなも、オーロはどうですか？
Oh yes, how is Ouro?
それはもう。大変結構ですわ。さすがカバレロ様がパートナーに選んだお方。
I can practically hear their teeth gnashing.
よかった。
Ella came by now and again to check on me, so that served as a much-needed break.
素晴らしいと思いますわ、市松くんは。だって、カバレロ様が選んだ方ですわな。
Excuse me, I need to go throw up now.
認めざるを得ません。
Both mentally and physically. With that being said, hey, I've been curious for a while now. Aren't you second years?
はい。そうですけど。
All of the girls surrounding me were second years. Why are you all Ella's underclassmen then? This club had a grade-based hierarchy, so the second years were all grouped together. Put another way, Ella had been practicing with the third years all day. Ella was our classmate, so she should obviously be a second year.
なんでも何も。
オーロ、私はこの部では、というか、正式な学年では3年生です。
Oh, are you just in our class so you can keep an eye on Sylvie? Huh?
シルビア様が留学を決めたとき、日本語を覚えるために1学年留年しました。
Ah, got it. Huh?
部活動は試合登録の関係で学年でなく年齢で区切られます。なので私は学園では2年ですが、ここでは3年生です。
Who knew the situation was so complicated? No, more importantly, she took a year off. Just so she could join Sylvie abroad? There were a bunch of questions I wanted to ask, but...
知らなかったの？
Well, we're still early in the relationship, so you know.
彼氏のくせに？
Oh, that's right. She did mention something like that before. Yeah. I got hit by a lot of baseballs, so my memory's shoddy. I couldn't ask her to elaborate while they were around. No choice but to wait until practice was over.
失礼します、カバレロ様。ごきげんよう。
あ、帰り道気をつけて。
Practice ended and we headed outside.
結局、最後まで付き合わせてしまいましたね。
Yep. Yeah, I figured I'd stick around. Ella seemed pretty happy. Taking part in practice for a change seemed to have cheered her up. You really do love fencing, don't you, Ella?
そうですね。将来に必要なものは実戦格闘術なので、どちらかというと趣味の範囲に収まってしまいますが、フェンシングは好きです。単純にやっていて楽しいと思います。
She meekly nodded her head. She didn't hesitate to call it fun. I greatly appreciated that about her. You would want to find some level of enjoyment in whatever you were doing, whether you were devoted to it or not. You could wind up not being able to tell whether you were genuinely enjoying it after all. How far were you planning on going with it? Until your graduation from Noble Academy? Oh, what's fencing like in sortilege?
そうですね。日本よりは隆盛です。ただ、欧州圏ではあまり、というところですね。フランス、イタリアの足元にも及びません。
You could be the number one fencer in sortilege if you devoted yourself to it.
まあ、確かに本国では、なかなかに高い実力であろう自負はあります。
That's great. Maybe I should get your autograph while I still have the chance.
けれど続ける気はありません。
Really? Huh? She gave that candid reply, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world.
私がフェンシングに、スポーツに入れ込むのは、日本にいる今だけです。国に帰ればシルビー様、シルビア王女の護衛として、騎士院派筆頭としての職務に集中せねばなりません。趣味に興じているのは今だけです。
I see. It was easy for her to say. Ella was acting as though she had no regrets whatsoever. It was such a waste, in my opinion. Ella was incredibly talented, and she should continue working to hone her craft. There were many people in her position who couldn't accomplish such a feat.
今日も夕食を作りたいのですが、よろしいですか?
Yeah. I should actually be asking if you're okay with it. Ella tagged along and we headed straight to my dorm room.
世話になっているのです。せめてもの感謝の気持ちと思ってください。それに、恋人らしいでしょ?
Well, yeah, but unless they've got spy cams in here, I don't think it matters. Yeah, it does.
今日はいい魚介類がいくつか入ったので、パエリアにでも。
What? Ella looked like she screwed something up while in the middle of preparing our meal.
しまった。オーロを待たせていると思って急いできたからつい。
Huh? Did you forget to bring a piece of cooking equipment or something?
いえ、材料は朝のうちに買い込んできました。そうではなく。
She planned on making me dinner ever since this morning? Oh no, don't make me blush.
私、汗臭くないでしょうか?
What?
練習後にシャワーを浴びるのを忘れました。今日は混んでいたので、
As you might expect from a rich school like Noble Academy, each club had a luxurious setup with their own private showering suites instead of a generic shower room. There were 3 showers to each suite, which often led to overcrowding. Ella had been in a rush, worrying that she'd keep me waiting, and had skipped out on a shower entirely. She worked her butt off today at practice, so it would make sense that she would be incredibly sweaty. And then she went without a shower.
あまり見ないでください。
Sorry. A part of me wanted to tell her, don't worry, your sweat actually smells nice. But I wasn't a pervert, so I gave up on that idea. Really? You're welcome to shower here.
よろしいのですか?
You can trust me not to peek. If you'd prefer, I could go and hang out in the foyer.
いえ、そこまでせずとも。では、いただきます。ありがとう。
But you also don't have other clothes. The towels are under the sink.
はい。鍋見ておいてください。
You got it. The meal was at a safe point to step away for a moment, so Ella left the stew on low heat and headed for the bathroom. There's a naked girl in my shower. This was fine, seriously. I could hear the shower, but I wasn't thinking about it at all. Nope. The sound of running water was more than enough proof that this very naked Ella-san was only a few steps away from me. But that didn't mean a thing to me. I was calm. The naked Ella. I don't have the patch and stuff. Oh my god. my god. Wow. I almost feel like it would have been better if they just cut that entirely. Calm and collected. Calm and collected.
出ました。
I really thought we were going back to that for a second. I was thinking, why? Okay.
タオルお借りしましたがどうしましょう。洗って返した方が。
No, I'll take it. No, go ahead and leave it in the washing machine. Wait, do we have washing machines in every unit? Oh, man, that is fancy.
ありがとう。
She tossed it into my washing machine. I'd gotten hold of Ella's damp towel, the same one she had used to wipe down from her shower. This very towel had crept across her wet, naked body. No, I needed to wash it with the rest of the dirty laundry and be done with it. Ella always kept her hair tied up. But that ordinarily pristine hair was now down and swaying to and fro. Huh. This is what she was like? Wow.
いい具合です。
She lifted the lid and examined the pot's contents, which had been left to simmer for the last 15 minutes. The scent of well-cooked seafood suddenly filled the room.
さてあとは。
Something wrong?
いえ、ちょっと髪が乾ききってなくて。
I don't have a hairdryer, so I don't know what to do about that.
でもパエリアが。どうしましょう。
I brought her a new towel. She didn't seem like she could step away from cooking, so... Does this work?
お願いします。
I helped dry Ella's hair while she finished prepping our dinner. Scritch, scritch, scritch. Man, I couldn't believe I was casually touching her like this. No, this much should be fine. We were boyfriend and girlfriend, on paper. I gently combed my fingers through her long tresses and tried my best not to tug.
これであと5分蒸せば終わりです。
I see. Now that Ella's hands were free, I gingerly led her to my bed. Oh my. I was about to say, no way. Then continued to dry her hair. Maybe there wasn't any need for me to do this now that her hands were free. Oh well, should be fine. It wasn't as if I was doing anything bad. I wasn't, but we continued to maintain physical contact on my bed. Nothing more and nothing less.
ありがとう。
It didn't hurt?
いえ、とんでもない。
This isn't going to be misinterpreted by Ria at all.
オーロの手は気持ちいいです。暖かくて。
I see.
金色ラブリッチェ。
Alright, so this is probably a good spot to stop this episode. Well, that, I was wondering what the circumstances were where Ouro and Ella were going to get together. It's still difficult for me to say Ella without saying Ella-san. I've been doing it for so long, just like Ouro, it's just ingrained in my brain. This is an educational experience for both of us. But it makes sense that the scenario would be that Sylvie ends up forcing Ouro and Ella together. The paparazzi angle, that's a good mechanism to get them there. And it seems like things are going really well. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that Ella kind of personality pivoted a little bit to adapt to this temporary lovers status, even though lovers is probably not the way I would put it, but whatever, you know, details. But she adapted to it really, really well. And I'm pretty impressed by that. And I actually like that we're getting to know a lot more of details about her, and I know they're not necessarily important for the rest of the story, but I appreciate the fact that we're actually getting to know about her versus other circumstances and other things. That was my biggest complaint about Reina's route, is I feel like there wasn't actually enough detail about Reina herself. I wanted to learn more about her. And I feel like we learn more about Reina on everybody else's route than we actually do on hers. And I mean, yeah, I understand that we need to learn a little bit of backstory about Ouro and his circumstances, but I feel like that could have been done on the common route. That's just my opinion. Well, thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. For now, I am half of the Bridge Boys, signing off.